Well, good evening, everybody. This is Julie White from Pennsylvania, and it's so good to be here with all of you tonight. We always look forward to Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and just to get together with our team, with our family. So, one of the main goals of having our team Zoom is giving us time to connect and just build relationship, and so we just thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here. We encourage you to pass the word around about how exciting these Zooms are and how much you're learning, because we need to get some more people on here so everybody benefits. Of course, we will have a recording available as well. But with that, I'm going to turn some time over. Well, first of all, I want to welcome anyone new that's on here. Is there anyone on here for their very first time? We would like to give you a especially warm welcome if this is your first time. Okay, I guess we're all regulars, which is awesome. So I'm going to turn some time over to Debbie Packard, and she is going to do some acknowledgments, some exciting things that people have done, some kudos. So Debbie, you are muted, my dear.
My husband is bumping my elbow saying, "You're muted." Absolutely. Well, I first of all just want to recognize all of you for being on the call, because that is a sign of commitment to your business and to growth. And as you can see, not everybody joins these calls. And so congratulations. You are among those who are taking this seriously and eager to learn. And I really believe that tonight's going to be so helpful for all of us, really, as we learn the art of three-way calls. But we have some specific people too that I want to recognize. Carol, you had someone that you wanted to recognize, and I don't know if she's on the call, but you can go ahead and just give her the kudos if you'd like to.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I don't think she's on the call, but I do want to just give a shout out to one of my newest consultants, Lisa, who enrolled her first consultant last week. So good job.
We
Awesome.
love that generational growth. That's exciting. Way to go, Lisa. If you're watching this recording, we are excited for you and want to help. Just let us know how we can help you move forward. Renee, you had some people that you were really excited for.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to kind of lump them on. I see Victoria on, but we've had quite a number of commitments on our team to, first of all, to activate 2023. That's awesome. And in fact, we've had 5 just in the last week. And also, that's the July event, in case you were wondering, guys. Activate 2023 in a couple of weeks. And then to Victoria, who I told her we were going to pick her tail feathers up and move her to a new rank this month, and she's on board. And several people, actually about 3 other people, have given commitments to move the color of their jewel up 1 this month. So I just want to shout out to those people who are making commitments to make July the month.
That's right. I tell you, growth doesn't happen if you don't decide to make it happen. We've got to all set the goals and create our incentives and really go after them. So way to go, Victoria and others on Renee's team who are saying yes to stepping forward, going another level. Renee was talking about Activate 2023, and that really is just an event that we can't afford to miss. It is a virtual event, so everyone can get there. I know in Kansas City, we're planning a watch party, and I hope many of you will plan watch parties to watch the Activate 2023. That is on July 22nd. I hope I have that right. So it's coming up. It's a week from Saturday. So I want to recognize everybody who has already registered for Activate 2023. So in the chat, I want you to write Activate if you have registered already for that event, and let's really celebrate everybody that has already signed up. And if you haven't yet, it's not too late. Go to your website, to your back office, find events and register. Oh, look at this. We got a whole room full. Well, I'm going to type it in because I am registered too.
And so is yours.
And so is my honey, who is sitting next to me. So this is great. We are going to have so many people on that event. And the more I hear about it, the more we know that we're not going to want to miss a single minute of it. It's going to be a marvelous time. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to kick it back to you, Julie, for the next part of our meeting.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm excited to see how many people are registered for that Activate. And the really cool thing is that once you register, you will also get access to the recording for 30 days. So that is really priceless. So yes, now we are going to hear from one of our favorites, Renee Parker, and she is going to share some training with us, some of her secret sauce. So Renee, turning the time over to you, and let me make sure that you can share your screen here. So
Yes, that would be the next thing. Make sure I can show you guys, because I'm really excited about what we're talking about tonight, because it is the thing. It is such a big thing. And most of us kind of think as we're getting started, is that really a thing? We're going to talk about that thing tonight. Let me screen share and look at it for us. Let me see if this will do it. Let me see. Aha, yes, it will. And let me push you guys out of my periphery, and I'm going to present right now. Tell me you guys can see that.
yep.
All right, great. Let it finish loading. Give it just a moment. There we go. We are going to be talking about the power of third-party validation, what it is, how to use it, how to take advantage of it, and get started with it if you haven't yet. When I talk about the power of third-party validation, it kind of looks like this, but what I'm trying to get across to you is something a little more like this, because it is powerful. And if you use this, and I'm speaking from experience, you use this, you will move the needle so much faster in your business. So what is it exactly? What is third-party validation to the masses, right? Well, it's simply words that don't come out of your mouth. They come out of somebody else's mouth. That's just the premise behind third-party validation. Having someone else add value, validate, verify what you have already been telling or showing your prospect. That validator is going to bring more knowledge. They're going to dive deeper into your prospect's possible physical needs, or maybe their thought process if they are considering maybe joining us as an opportunity, as a business opportunity. If you look at those three fellows right there, if you had to say which one of them is the validator, which one would you think? This is going to be important a little later. I'm not where I can see the chat.
I would say the guy on the left.
On the far left.
Yes.
All right. In this scenario, he may be, but in this scenario, based on where they're sitting, I'm going to say, and I'll teach you why before we're done, it's the guy in the green. And the guy with the blue jean jacket or blue jean shirt is probably a consultant. He's looking very, very intently, mentally taking in what his advisor or his validator is saying. The guy in the plaid shirt in this scenario, but that's a very good guess, Debbie, is kind of a little bit closed. You see, he's kind of holding his cup. He's not completely closed, but he's a little guarded, and he's kind of taking all of this in. The position is going to be important, and I'll tell you why. So that validator, you can do all of this yourself, but that validator is going to add credibility and trust to the message you've already been bringing. And guys, there's something a validator can do that you cannot do. And that one thing is edify you. And that's a big part of this process. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. So you say, okay, all right, where do I start? What do I do first? Well, a third-party validation is the second T in ITT, and we teach invite to a tool to a teammate, right? If at all possible, you want to follow that methodology, unless your upline tells you something different. these are great tools to invite people to. You might want to click on that, get a picture of that. So we're going to invite first to a tool and then to a teammate. So that's kind of like the first part of this. Like, just hold on. Let's get them some information, not out of our mouth, but let that tool also do some validating, right? Okay, and then you'll say, well, okay, there's a lot there. After I understand it all, I'll begin inviting to tools and to some third-party validation. Hold on, sweetheart, because there is a lot to learn, right? So once you get into the learning part of this, you're like, oh my goodness, I need to learn about patents, and I need to learn about sirtuins and social media and superoxide dismutase and my upline and peptides and the prime time and research. And what is that? SC of compliance and academy. And oh, Lord have mercy. You are absolutely right. There's a lot to learn. Now, you can go through the pattern and learn all of that stuff, but doesn't it seem a little more easy, a little easier? The gal on the left is frozen. Can you see that? She's literally frozen solid. And yet the gals on the right, the girl up top, if she's the new consultant, she's asking her validator, the girl with the black shirt and the little hearts, to validate for her prospect, the girl down in the green, and they are all smiling. Not one of them is having a bad day. Now, does the girl in the blue at the top know all of these things on the left? She does not. In fact, she's probably only about a step or two ahead of her prospect, but she's leaning heavy on her validator to be the one to bring the information. And we're going to get into that a little bit in a little bit. So the importance of this third-party validation. For some of us, it's easy, guys, to start a conversation. We want to invite them to learn more. And then, of course, we begin to use the tools and our team to more easily go through this process. And there's even something special about the process. You see, this system prevents information overload. Now, the information that I could bring your prospect, or anyone on this team could bring your prospect, it's probably considered good conversation. But that same information coming from you, or let me switch that. If I have a prospect who knows me from church or who knows me out in the community, they start hearing me talk about sirtuins and superoxide dismutase, it's going to sound like a sales pitch, right? And no matter how excited I am about what I'm trying to tell them, they're going to react a little more like that because I'm acting a little weird, a little weird. I am. So let's look at some practical tips for third-party validation. If you're in person, and we are all getting back to in person, and I love this aspect when we can do it. Place your prospect in a position at the head of a table or in a position where they can easily move away from the talk mentally, if they could, if they need to, like they're not hemmed in. If you remember that picture that we saw a few minutes ago, the guy in the green was sort of sitting back. He would have to have asked one of those guys to move for him to move. That's why I made the assumption that in that scenario, he was the guy bringing the information, right? So you want to make sure your prospect is at the head of a table if you're sitting at a table, and it also brings to light their importance to the meeting. The guy, the validator, we know he's the guy, right? Or she's the gal. We know that. So place that prospect at the head so that they feel that they are as important to the conversation as the person who's actually bringing the information. If you happen to be in a booth and you're live, please allow your prospect to sit on the outside. Again, it's that non-hemmed up feeling, because they're going to sit there the whole time thinking, if I want to get out of here, there's no way to get past these people, right? Leave them on the outside. Oh, and I'm going the wrong way. So let's talk a little bit about how to connect in a third party validation scenario. Your job, and we're going to assume you're the person at the top, is to be the bridge. That's This is the most important part, and it's all you have to do when it comes to third-party validation. This is your part. Your part is introduction. And this is vital to the success of this third-party call, believe it or not. You're going to introduce your validator to your prospect. So you're going to say, if the prospect is in green, you've got a connection to her, and you're going to tell your prospect about your validator. You're going to tell them sort of a little edification, a little of their experience. And then you're going to say why you chose this person in relation to your prospect's concern or question, or maybe both of you, the validator and the prospect, are homeschoolers, or maybe you have, as David Meisner, an equine ministry, both of you do. Maybe you both, are breeding poodles. Who knows? There's a connection there. Maybe you're both college educators. Make that connection and base it on, and it could be because you have a kid who's off the wall ADD, or your prospect does, and your validator has been through a life with a kid who's been off the wall ADHD, and the validator knows that the prospect has watched the brain mapping video already. All right, so let's go next. You're going to introduce your prospect to your validator. Now, hang on. I want to back up just a minute because another conversation has taken place before this call. Before this call, you have reached out to your validator, and you have talked to your validator about a time and a methodology that we're going to get together. Is it a text group? Is it a three-way call? Are we meeting for coffee? And you're going to tell your validator about your prospect, and you're going to give her or him the information they need to bring it to this call. So they're already going to have some idea in the back of their mind of how to connect with your prospect. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to edify your prospect to your validator. You want that person to hear, you want your prospect to hear you tell your validator how special you think they really are. And then you're going to give the reason for the conversation. Now you've already talked to the validator, but your prospect may have some idea you have, but they don't know for sure. So you're actually going to lay it out there in the conversation, the reason why you're all three connecting. And this is great for your validator, because if you talk to your validator on Tuesday afternoon and you're not getting together until Wednesday night, well, a lot goes on in all of our lives in that time. And putting that conversation, that reason for the conversation back out there helps your validator. Oh, that's right. That's exactly what we're talking about. I'm ready to go and be the validator I need to be. So then your validator is going to take it from there. And the first thing they're going to do is close the gap by edifying you to your prospect. So we're going to look at what that might look like. So here we go. So you're the consultant. Let's say your name's Marie. Taylor is your validator and Jamie is your prospect. So here we go. Jamie, you're going to say, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Taylor King. She's been a leader for decades, someone that I depend on to teach about activation. In fact, she's the best there is. That's nice, yeah. And Taylor, this is Jamie Hill, one of my brightest friends. I've known her since high school. Now she's seen that ABC video. So you're kind of letting the validator know that now she's also seen that, right? She's been researching oxidative stress on PubMed, and her question is, what's the difference between buying these things separately and purchasing Protandim? The validator says, Jamie, it's so nice to meet you. You've got a great friend in Marie, and she is a trending success story with our company. She's a future leader, and I understand you have some questions about Protandim and the ingredients and activation versus supplementation. Let's start that process. Let's start that conversation. Now, let's look at some pro tips very quickly. It's a good idea to stay verbally on your prospect's side of the table. And I mean that more, not so much literally, sometimes literally, but when you're building that bridge to that third party call or that text group or that get together, you want to stay verbally on their side. Here's what that means. You know what, friend, that's a great question. Let me get someone to answer it for us. Here's another one. We're going to want to hear from someone who can answer that. You see where I'm going with this? I want you to get the answer from an expert. So let's see when we can talk to my mentor. Us, we, those that are words that keep you two, you and your prospect on one side of the table and your validator on the other. Instead of saying I need to get you to somebody. No, I need to get us to somebody, right? Third party validation, use it even when you know the information, even if you know how to answer the question. When do you stop? Well, I've been using third party validation now for August will be 10 years. And I have no signs of slowing down. Okay. Now, remember we talked about the girl with the pink, like she's just over talking and the friends are going, whoa, wait a minute, girl. How do we reel it back in when we know we can pick up the vibe that we've gone too far, or we hear ourselves talking and you're like in your head going, I don't know where to stop. I don't know where to stop. It's just sirtuins and superoxide dismutase and the comp plan, and it's all coming out at one time. How do I reel it back in? Simply by admitting it. Oh, would you listen to me? I'm obviously passionate about this, but what we really need is to hear from my mentor, because they are the best, right? So just reel it in by stopping yourself and saying, would you listen to me, right? And that sort of closes the gap and brings your friend back from this to, yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to talk to somebody else, right? So how do you become a great validator? We do it by being a great listener. Notice the guy, if you remember back in the video, in the clip where you got the guy in the green and the guy in the blue is just like taking it all in. He is intent on what that consultant is saying because he's wanting to learn how to be a great validator. Take notes, preferably write them down, not just in your head, when your validator is talking to your prospect. When I'm doing a three-way, and I will tell my my consultant before we get started, I will say, now, after we make the introductions, put your phone on mute, and then you'll know to come back into the conversation when I say your name. I'll probably be asking you a question, but when I say your name, that's your clue to come back and unmute and get back into the conversation. Now, I'm going to take a minute and stop share because there's somebody on the call that uses third-party validation more than anybody else, probably on my whole team. And I have asked Kate Jordan to give us just a little feet on the ground validation about using third-party validation or not. Kate, you there?
Yes, I am, and I would like to speak to you about that. I'm sorry, the frogs are pretty loud and I'm outside. Well, everybody that I know knows me as the crazy goat lady, and they don't even consider that I was an Air Force officer in intelligence, and that doesn't mean anything. But when I start saying things about nutrition and these products, they look at me like, what's that got to do with goats? So I call Renee and I say, Renee, I really need you to explain this, that Kate Jordan does have something that is of value, and you can explain it to them in a way that they will understand that this is a true thing and they need to listen to both of us, and it would benefit them.
Yep, and I see that Bonnie is on as well, and I'm sure you use Bonnie too.
Oh, Bonnie and I have been tight on this too.
Yep, absolutely. Bonnie is a great validator, and Kate has used us both. And guys, that kind of wraps it up for me now. Oh, Julie, was there one? I'm going to let you do that. Julie White, would you please kind of put a bow on this as far as third-party validation?
Absolutely. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Kate. That was great information and so true. I have also found that third-party validation has been a real key in my business and in helping people. The social proof is really, really valuable. I know I heard somebody recently say it's kind of like you're shopping for something, maybe you're shopping for, I love purple. So let's say I'm shopping for a purple dress and I'm looking at this dress and I'm thinking, oh, shouldn't I buy this dress? And all of a sudden, a couple other ladies come up and they're like, wow. And they start looking at the dress. Well, right away, it kind of perks up my interest. So, it's just that social proof that really makes a difference. And, our heart really is to help people. And it's a great way to help people. One of the things that I really like to do is to have somebody share their story with them, a story that they can relate to. And the bottom line, though, is always that we want to make it about our prospect, about our friend that we're trying to help. So we don't want to force anything on them. There might be a person or two that is not going to want to do a three-way call. So, we're going to make it about them. We're not going to be pressuring them to do a three-way call. Or, like Renee said, it can be in person, it can be on Zoom. But I think if, it's like she said, the connection is the key piece, and making it about them, how can we help them? How can we, best get the information that they need? And again, it goes back to another thing you said, Renee, which is listening. Listening is a big key in all of this, and just kind of, making it fit the person. Everybody's a little different, so it's going to look a little different for different people. Another thing that I have found really helpful with this whole three-way thing that makes it a lot easier, because I know it can be a little intimidating with the technology and making sure that, like I'm always like, oh, phew, we got the third person on the line, because sometimes it's, it's a little tricky and it doesn't always work out right away. But another thing that's really simple is doing a three-way messenger chat. And you can even add more than, one validator. But, just getting somebody to hop in the group and, share their story, answer questions. It's real easy. A lot of people use Facebook Messenger, not everybody. You can also do text, but some of the advantages to the messenger is you can drop files, you can share pictures, and you can do the voice, also the voice message. So that's another option for all of us. But we want to do a call to action. So because we see that people that use third-party validation really are having, in our opinion, more success. And we want everybody on here to have success, as much success as possible. So we're going to do a call to action, which is basically doing three-way calls this next week. See if you can do 1, 2, 3 three-way calls this week, with someone in your upline, or it doesn't even have to be your upline, somebody that will, be able to share about activation, share a story. That would be, something they could relate to. So, and then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to have people share their experience, share their success about their three-way call. So that's what we're going to do. And I hope you're all on board with that. If you're on board, let's say I'm on board in the chat. Who's on
I'm
board?
on board.
Okay, great, Kate. Thank you. Okay, I see Debbie's on board. Jerry, Renee, come on, guys. Who's on board? Carol, who's on board here? Let's all get on board, because this is going to help you. All right, Robin, Dan, Victoria, this is awesome. Kat, okay, well, I'm excited for next week when we get to, hear from everyone. And now we want to take just a couple of minutes for some announcements, and then if you need to go, fine. If you want to stay on for a little Q&A, we'll do just a little bit of Q&A. But Carol Roberts, our diamond leader here. Carol, can you please share any announcements with us?
Yeah, just real quick. And of course, we've already talked about Activate, which is the closest event coming up. And if you are in Kansas City, we are meeting at 10 o'clock at the Lee Summit East Branch Library. David is going to do a little presentation, and so invite some prospects to join us. Monday, the 24th, is International Self-Care Day. And Dr. Viglione will be with us again. So exciting to have her again. So it's another opportunity to invite guests, another beautiful way to have a third-party validation to a conversation that you may have already had with a prospect. The 31st, we have our own dear Lena who is going to share, and I'm not sure what her topic is going to be. It might just be activation in general. But Lena, if you've ever heard her, she is amazing. She does such a good job teaching. She is super smart and could talk over her heads, but she does not. So I've always appreciated that about Lena. And also, just a quick thing, check your Monday momentum emails. I know, okay, I will confess, I still do not get them. We have not figured out between corporate and I why I'm not getting them, but you have access to them through Debbie she is amazing to post those for us in our little group chat. And so if you don't get those, ask somebody. They are worth reading. I just wanted to share a few things. Let me pull mine back up over here. There's the corporate does oh gosh, this is called Tech Toolbox Tuesday. So tomorrow they're going to be talking about the tools, the tech tools. There's also an opportunity meeting with one of our elites. This week is Christy Vogt, which if you've ever heard her, she does an amazing job as well. And also, if you're thinking about global and San Antonio, just go ahead and do it. Just make the commitment. Because if you don't make the decision now and you keep thinking, oh, wait till it gets closer, trust me, you won't go. So just
Can
make
I
a decision.
We're still working on getting 10 more at the discount price.
Oh, good. Okay.
So
Awesome.
I know Victoria and several others, I'm not sure else is on here, who have already Venmoed their money. So we're just,
Okay.
once we have 10, we'll buy tickets at a discount from, it's 159, I think. 150. What is it for 10? 150, 59 instead of 199 for one ticket.
Right. I think it's 199. Yeah.
Yeah, without the group.
Right.
So, right.
Right.
We
So
need a few more, and then we'll be able to collect and get everybody a ticket at a discount.
yes. So hit Renee up for that savings. Also the 3-in-1. Okay, you guys, that's what we're kind of striving for, right? 3 customers, 1 consultant. I don't know if y'all are water junkies like I am, but this month it's a water bottle, a branded water bottle. If that's of interest to you, might be a little fun little cherry on the top. But okay, so this is kind of cool too. Here's what I wanted to share. When I came in, and I know it's changed over the time, when I came in, you had to be on the Elite Pack. You had to enroll with the Elite Pack to be a part of being assigned orphan customers that come to the website, the LifeVantage website, and enroll and are not assigned to somebody, get assigned to a consultant. Okay. So then at one point you had to be using the app. Okay. Well, if you read your email, they are now changing it to consultant 2 to SC3s can qualify for those auto-assigned free gift customers. I mean, how amazing is that? There are some qualifications, like you have to have enrolled at least 1 customer or consultant the previous month, not including one of the auto-assigned. You do have to have an active subscription, but I mean, come on, we all have that anyway, right? Have to have placed an order type in the previous calendar month. So check. The account is less than 6 months old. So here is something that our new consultants that are 6 months, something to tell them to be a part of. It's just a way for the company to bless us. And the company is all about blessing us. We already know that. We talked about a Salt Lake Real soccer game in Kansas City on Wednesday. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have. Just check your email. If you don't have that email, like moi. Just make sure that you get access to it.
Julie, you are muted, dear. There you
I just
go.
realized that. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, thanks, Carol. A lot of exciting things happening. And so I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. This has been great. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. And so we're going to stay on for a little bit more time if somebody has a question that we can help you with. So I'm going to just open it up here. You can type it in the chat or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question.
I'd like to follow up with Kat on her. Kat, you mentioned that you'd been kind of struggling with how to do three-ways. Is there anything more that you'd like to talk about that we can help you with?
Pat, we're not hearing you. You're not muted, but I'm not hearing what you're saying. He's working on it.
He's working on it.
Should I stop the recording here, guys, you think? Or should I keep going?
I would, but I don't know what y'all were thinking. I'm not sure it matters.
Yeah.
You there, Kat?
Okay. Just need to give it a try with the we and us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was a good tool for you.
That training was amazing, Renee. So helpful. I mean, I'm so glad to have that on recording.
Yes.
I love doing that. I love doing that stuff, you know. And it's important, especially if you've been struggling with validation. I know that when I first started with LifeVantage, I'll just give you a little testimony. I was a top-notch super dog, always at the top of the ranks, on top of the chart salesperson. So there was Renee's numbers and then everybody else down here somewhere. And so for someone to say, oh, you need a validator, I was coming from an environment, and many of us are like this even in our everyday job, where if I needed help with every single client that I was prospecting for my company, I had to ask for help. How long would I have had my job?
Yeah.
Not very long. So I grew up in an environment where, and we are a woman, hear us roar, right? We have all grew up saying, you know, she can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan and we can do it all. We don't need help. That's very isolate. That's so isolating. So it was foreign to me that someone wanted and could do a better job than I could in that prospecting, because I was, you know, I went after the big clients and I'd bring them in. I got that signature. It's right there, right? So it just felt a little weird that some 70-plus-year-old lady was going to validate for me. It just felt weird. She'd never sold it. She'd even admitted she had never sold anything, right? But when Jackie Shepard got on the phone, that was it. When other people in my upline got on the phone, for some reason, the crazy thing worked. I had never known a validator. I had never had a third party come in. It was, you make the numbers or you're out. And I brought that mentality into LifeVantage. Ask Jackie Shepard. But she trained me, and Charlotte and Joe Ford, some of you know them, trained me. And Ron and Lynn Williams, some of you know them, trained me. That even though they didn't have sales background, they were actually able to take this top-notch salesperson and actually turn her into a relationship business builder. And I will use validation until somebody tells me there's nobody left in LifeVantage to do that. Because it's important. It is that important every time. And then the other part is, when do we become validators? And I had to learn this the hard way too, guys. And I don't mean to take up your time. This is why, even though you know the answers, even though you can do it, the other part of having that validator there, we want our team to bring people to us, right? We want our team to use the validation process. Let me help you get your business rolling. You don't use all the things somebody has to learn. Oh my gosh. Do you have to wait till you know all that? Well, if you do, you're putting yourself at a big disadvantage. That's not what I did, but I thought, well, I know enough. I don't need a validator. Well, the thing that happens when you don't use a validator, the person that you're in front of doesn't see the process in front of them and doesn't know to use you as a validator. So then that happens down your different lines as well, right? It duplicates what you do, duplicates. So I had a bunch of people who weren't validating and didn't understand why they weren't having success. But by the time I realized what was going on, that flower had bloomed way out. And that was a real hard thing to begin to teach again, because so many people right here in front of me had never seen validation from third party. Thankfully, Beth McElhenney saw validation, because her enroller is Christy Cunningham. Victoria Holyfield, who's on with us tonight, saw validation. Her enroller, Carla and Thomas Jordan. So we're back to using that validation, and our team understands it. And Kat, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it.
For me, it was just, I like the simplicity of it. It just made it easy for me, because I was new and I didn't know very much at all. And, just being able to get somebody on the phone and have them share, it just made it simple, and it worked. So anybody else have a question before we close out tonight? Okay, well, it's been great being here with all of you, and we look forward to next week. And so have a great rest of the week. Blessings to all of you. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Great to see you all.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you, Renee.